Welcome, everybody. It's 6:01. I'm a little late. At April 13th, Thursday, John Arvos is here at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S., to talk to you about the latest from Ukraine. Today's big story is going to be the arrest of the guy that leaked those hundreds of pages of classified documents. Crazy story, much of it involving Ukraine. But first, we will wait 2 or 3 minutes, as we always do, for folks to arrive from YouTube and the rest of you, and TikTok over here on my iPad. Let me get TikTok rolling. Boom, go live. And then we wait 2 or 3 minutes because it takes that long for people to get notified. So bear with me on that. Let me get flip my screen. There we go. Excellent. Woo. How are folks doing today? It's another balmy day. 88 degrees in DC. It's insane. I mean, 88 degrees. What is 88? I'm going to go with 30, 31 maybe. What is 88 degrees Fahrenheit and Celsius? 31, he calls it. 31.1. Yeah, crazy. Absolutely crazy. I mean, it's great, but this is a little too warm for here, at least for this time of year. That's like that's like July and August for us. Sorry, turning my fan on because my room is getting so warm. But anyway, we're going to wait about 2 minutes, like I said, for folks to arrive. Oh, I saw that hat. Thank you, Donka Shane. It was out of the corner of my eye. I went, there's a hat on my head. Thank you, Shane, for that. Norvege. I'm going to mention you guys. I actually have a Norway. I think I have a Norway. Do I have a Norway? I think I have a Norway. Yeah, I do have a Norway story today. We don't mention you guys enough. We love you. Anyway, yeah, we'll start in a second, guys. Welcome. Woo, man. I leave for Saturday for Chicago for Greek Easter, as we call it, and then going to stay with Mom for the month. My friend Damien will be house sitting, so don't rob me. He will be here defending Sasha's domain viciously. I'm having tea out of my new tea mug that Callum got me from Scotland. My Scotland Starbucks tea mug. That was a really bad Scottish accent, sorry. But cool. It's really pretty. Really pretty. So it's my tea. Of course, we're not going to say what kind of tea I have in here because it would make the Brits and the Irish cringe if they knew what I had in here. There's no OJ in the tea, but I will admit it's Lipton's. Thank you, Donka Shane, for that. Hey, it's the only tea. It's the other good tea I have is decaf. So, we got enough people now. Good. Hey guys, thank you, TikTokers, for joining us, YouTubers, etc. We now have our critical mass. Let's get started. So I am John Aravosis. This is the Aravosis Report. It is my nightly show that I do Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. We talk about the latest news from Ukraine for about half the show, and then the other half of the show, I take your guys' questions. The way it works, I've got half of you guys over here on TikTok on my iPad, and the other half are over there on my laptop. So you will see me look at you YouTubers, Twitchers, and everybody else over here. That's why I'm looking back and forth, because I've got you guys all over my room. So the way it works, if you could submit questions via the Q&A link on TikTok, that's the easiest way to do it because it stacks up nicely. On YouTube, etc., obviously the comment box at the bottom. I do appreciate your gifts. I hate to keep harping on it, but I do this for free. I've been doing it full time since the war started. I've always been internet, politics, journalism, activism, foreign policy, all of that mixed together. And when the war broke out, I decided I was going to devote my time and my effort to trying to help Ukraine by getting the news out there and helping people digest the news in an understandable way. Need your help to do that because quite literally, nobody pays me to do this. I'm able to do this because you guys pay my bills, frankly. So thank you for that. But if you can please keep the gifts coming, the TikTok gifts and the YouTube super chats, I appreciate it. Again, hate to keep harping, but what do you do? So today is day 413. I almost didn't update it, of Vladimir Putin's 10-day special invasion of Ukraine. The big news today is that the U.S. has arrested that kid who did the massive classified document leak that caused so much damage to Ukraine and to others. Crazy. This is a crazy story. Thank you, Fred, for the hat there. Absolutely crazy story. So the kid they arrested, there was, okay, I'm trying to think of where to even start with this. Thank you, TJF, for the dancing cactus. Probably a week ago now, I think it was last Friday even, the story breaks that there are these hundreds of pages of maybe 100 pages of classified documents about Ukraine and about other things that are online on a Discord server dealing with Minecraft, dealing with like this kids game on Discord. We have a Discord, by the way, go check it out, but not our Discord. We don't put our stuff up. We don't put classified information on our Discord. But there's all these classified documents. They're relatively recent, which is bad. A lot of them were dated March 1st or so, which is very bad. Because it means that this is recent intelligence. This is recent assessments from the US, so that it makes it much more useful for enemies to basically use this information. Anyway, lots of stuff about Ukraine, lots of stuff about Ukraine's capabilities, about our assessment of Ukraine's capabilities. For example, there was something talking about how the U.S. is concerned about whether Ukraine can really pull it off with this counteroffensive. There was stuff about our allies trying to sow trouble between the U.S. and South Korea, between the U.S. and Egypt, between the U.S. and Ukraine itself. Such highly classified stuff. Anyway, today, thank you, Mishka, for the owl. Today, a 21-year-old kid, I'm going to call him a kid because you've got to see this guy's picture online. He looks like a high school student. He's a 21-year-old Air National Guardsman. And I'm not going to, okay, I'm trying to be nice here. I'm not going to knock the National Guard, but he's with State National Guard. I'm not sure what to even call that. In Italy, that would be like the Carabinieri, I think. Like, I don't know what else to call it. It's not even like the main military, okay? He's with the Massachusetts Air National Guard. And this 21-year-old kid, of course, he's an adult. He should be thrown in prison for life. I understand that. But my point here is he's 21 years old. This guy has like no experience. He's working for Massachusetts National Guard. His job is irrelevant to U.S. national security. And this guy didn't have to break into anything. He had access to, maybe not all, but to our top military secrets on Iran, on Ukraine, and everything else. It's outrageous that this guy had access. Absolutely outrageous. He did abuse, Chaotic is saying he abused his clearance. He abused his clearance. But why did he have this clearance? I mean, I know I've seen military folks talking online and saying the problem is, you have these junior staffers, in essence, who are the ones synthesizing information for people. He's with the Massachusetts National Guard. The Massachusetts National Guard doesn't need to see our top intelligence briefings on Ukraine. Give me a break. I'm sorry, that's absolutely ridiculous. And there were comments from the Pentagon. I'm sort of jumping around my reporting on this, but I pulled stuff that kind of annoyed me. Thank you. But please do keep the gifts coming. They don't annoy me. Thank you, Elle and Meg Wood, for the dog. Listen to this. The Pentagon gets asked about this today. And they say, we do have the Pentagon was awfully defensive today, which kind of bothered me because you know what? Today is the day to be contrite, not to be defensive. You screwed up. You screwed up with this guy getting access. Thank you, Allie. Oh, Allie for the cat. How's Allie cat? Huh? Cute. Thank you for that. Listen to this. The Pentagon, we do have stringent guidelines in place for safeguarding classified and sensitive information. This was a deliberate criminal act, a violation of these guidelines. Well, it sounds like those stringent guidelines are stringent suggestions if the simple way you get around them is ignoring them. I mean, you don't have stringent guidelines, right? You don't have stringent guidelines if all the guy has to do is ignore the guidelines to get the information. Thank you, Shane. Actually, the air balloon was very cool. Thank you for that. It just kind of really ticks me off. It really, 21-year-old, and this guy had access. I mean, from what we know, he didn't break into anything. It's not like he broke into all these servers and everything else. He just had access. Now, the guy himself is a bit of a Fruit Loop. Thank you, Jedamon, for the fruits hat. It's cute. Your fruit hat got me thinking fruit, but he is a bit of a Fruit Loop. The story behind this guy, who was it? Washington Post, I think it was the Washington Post, goes and interviews friends of his anonymously who are underage, right, on this server. New York Times may have gotten access to it too. I know Bellingcat did. Bellingcat's Arik I keep getting the guy's name wrong. Is it Toller? Toller, maybe? Arik, A-R-I-C, Toller. He's really good with Bellingcat. He broke much of this story. I mean, he discovered it. He actually was the one who dug in and found all of the information on this. Well, he interviewed the people the Washington Post interviewed before the Washington Post got them and wrote it up this weekend. Now, what he's saying is this guy was basically a little bit of an egomaniac. He had zero intent to leak, so to speak. Let me rephrase this. Thank you, Lake Lady. Of course he meant to leak, but what I mean is he wasn't a whistleblower. He wasn't finding things that he objected. First of all, like that matters, but nonetheless, finding things he objected to and making a strike for justice and freedom. He literally wanted to impress his underage buddies in a chat group on Discord. It was called some kind of thug group. What was it? The Thug Shaker. Thug Shaker, a Discord community where mostly young men and teenagers came together over a shared love of guns, racist online memes, and video games. And he simply was bragging about, hey guys, you should see, I've got access to all these documents, and trying to like educate these underage kids on how world news is very important, and I'm going to help you educate yourselves on world news. And he would put the documents out there, and he would also like summarize them for everybody. And then he'd get pissed off because these like 16-year-old boys don't care to read all these classified documents. So they weren't reading his summaries, and he got pissed off and lectured them. Well, I'm not going to keep doing this if you're not going to read my summaries. This kid thought he was basically some intellectual hero educating young people about foreign policy. Thank you, user 822. It was total egomaniac, total narcissist, as Joe is saying on TikTok. The irony is not at all a whistleblower. Again, I'm not very sympathetic to whistleblowers. I mean, I sort of say this, I've said this before, but then again, some of you are new. I had access to top secret SCI, code word, classified information when I was an arms control staffer in the US Senate back late 80s, early 90s. From my perspective, the stuff I read was nothing like this guy had access to, but it's the same level of clearance. It's the same level of stuff. It was made very clear to me. I had to go for a briefing at the CIA, and they basically briefed you on the kind of stuff you would have access to. They showed you examples, for example, of the spy satellite information you might see. And they actually showed me an example of how well our spy satellites work. And to this day, I don't tell people because I don't know whether I'm allowed to. I doubt I'm allowed to. And the very fact, by the way, that I'm reticent, and it's been over 30 years, and I'm still reticent to tell you the details of that briefing, that is how clear they make to you how serious this stuff is. They showed me pictures of spy satellites and what they could do, of zooming in on something and showing me a zoom in from space, which blew my mind, mind you, that something miles up could see something this small. But that was the point. And then I had to sign a document that made clear I understood what I was getting, and I understood that I was going to jail for a very long time if I released this. This kid, I say kid again, but I'm saying, diminutively, this kid knew exactly what he was doing. He simply wanted to be Mr. Cool guy with the young underage boys, which is really weird too, that he was hanging out with all these underage boys. But he wanted to be Mr. Cool. He knew exactly what he was doing. I mean, it infuriates me, again, since I had access to stuff, but I mean, like I said, the stuff I was reading was boring arms control stuff. It was nothing like the stuff this guy was reading. And even then, I knew I had to be super careful with this stuff. And again, I'm not very sympathetic to whistleblowers either, to be honest. I mean, whistleblower, you better be one hell of a whistleblower, but you don't just go release stuff publicly. I mean, I am no fan, reality winner. I'm no fan of Snowden. Julian Assange can rot in hell for the rest of his life. I am not a fan of this kind of stuff. But this guy doesn't even if, like I said, even if you're a fan of Assange and all these crazy people, this guy wasn't trying to blow the whistle. This guy was trying to show off for underage boys. That's it. Sorry, my voice is going up. I'm Midwesterner. When we get upset, our voice goes up. Thank you, Leslie, for the confetti. I can't even pronounce your name. Dr. Westman, how does someone in the National Guard have a need to know? That's the problem, too. He's with the National Guard in Massachusetts, and he's 21 years old. Why in God's name does this guy? Here's the other thing. Actually, that was a very good point somebody just noted on TikTok. There's two issues here. One of which is you have to have the clearance that permits you to see this information, right? The second thing is you have to have a need to know the information. Generally speaking, you're not supposed to be able to even access information that you don't have a need to know about. We were traveling, for example, on a nuclear. I got to ride a nuclear submarine. It was quite fun. A bunch of us, the USS Tennessee, and we were underwater with them. And I was asking one of the sailors how deep the sub could go. When I was working in the Senate, how deep the sub could go. And he said, well, sir, that's classified. And I said, well, everyone on this trip as clearances. That's why we were invited. I said, what's the clearance level? He said, secret. I said, okay, I've got top secret. Oh, you don't even need to know. And it was, I think he was wrong, but I wasn't going to be a jerk about it. But he raised a really good point. Even if you have the clearance, you have to have a need to know. And in this situation, it wasn't clear to him whether I had a need to know the information as to how deep this sub could go, right? Now, I think I did, but the point is, that's how the process is supposed to work. Even if this kid somehow had clearances that went that high, and again, I don't know how the hell he did, he didn't have a need to know this kind of information. How the hell did he get access? So anyway, that's one of the things we're going to be having to figure out, but it's really bad. Flower Lady saying, my husband was a radio man school to be on a nuclear submarine at 21. He had a clearance. Well, again, you will have clearances, but the question is how high the clearances go. Now, as a radio man, you may have to have clearances that go super high because you're receiving information. Now, actually, this guy was some kind of a tech guy too. I mean, maybe because of his job per se, files could be coming back and forth and he might access them. Honestly, I will also say, the security clearance process isn't really very good if they didn't catch that this guy was some kind of malignant narcissist who would, mind you, posting super classified information because you want to impress a bunch of underage boys that you're cool. I like of all the possibilities, that was one I didn't think about. I mean, I told you, I was convinced it was Russia this whole time. No, let me put this. I was convinced it was Russia, but I did say once or twice that it was weird that some of the documents that were leaked were actually critical of Russia. That was the one thing I thought was weird, that some of them were saying, bad things about Russia. For example, the document that said Russian military dead were much more than Ukrainian. I thought that was weird that Russia would leak that. And this explains it now. It wasn't Russia. Really, really screwed up. Oh, Bash had a super chat. Hang on. Hey, Bash. Oh, look at that. There's a new button. Woo! There's a new button. Sorry. I've got a new button on my, I'm very excited about this. Is he facing a military trial? Well, anyway, so there's a new, get this, Roisin. Sorry. Oh, thank you for the hat there too, Duncan. There's a new button on my interface with you guys where Super Chat now has its own column. So now Super Chats will fall into the column so I can see them. Yay! Still helps for you to remind me to look. Is he facing a military trial? It's got to be a military. Well, okay, this is a question. It could, well, here's what I wonder. Edsel's saying he will face a court martial. Edsel, I know you're military. Is it only a court martial? What I mean is, thank you, Victor, for the shooting stars. What I mean is, if he's active duty military and he commits a crime like this, okay, it may not be treason because we're at war, but it's espionage. Will he only be tried in the military or would he be tried elsewhere as well? Because it's not just a court martial. I mean, he's facing, he will have to face a court martial on top of the federal charges. Thank you. That's what I was wondering. So Edsel's saying, thank you, Darian, for the hat and mustache. So Edsel's saying, he's going to face a court martial to kick him out of the military. And actually, court martials themselves can throw you in jail, can they not? Right? The UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice, sort of the military's law, right? So you can be thrown in jail by the military. Okay, I've got all the yeses, but then he also will be tried separately, which I do not think will be a military court. I will bet it's civilian, but I was reading today, it's called SIPA or something like that, but there's some kind of a national security court. But the problem becomes with the national security stuff is one of the risks is people who are charged with these crimes love to cause trouble because basically they say, well, we need to have access to all the information you're accusing us of so we can defend ourselves. And the danger is that the government is now allowing this classified information to potentially get out there, right? Would it be a FISA court? I was reading SIPA, unless SIPA was some kind of a subdivision of FISA. Because FISA is the court, of course, that decides on wiretaps and things like that domestically. In any case, well, he could go to Gitmo too, to be honest. I mean, this kid is in so much trouble. I don't think it's treason because I believe with treason, we have to be at war. And, we're not officially at war. The thing is, it is espionage, absolutely. Those other kids who were with him, oh boy, all those kids, because the kids were saying, for example, the kids that were Military prison is 100% worse than civilian court. Actually, that's probably very true. That's very true because the military guys and gals who are overseeing him in prison know that he's a traitor. That's a really good point. Yeah. He could face death penalty with the UCMJ? I didn't know that. Really? Really? Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, here's the thing I was hearing though too, that the investigators will absolutely want this guy's cooperation so they know everything he's got, everything he released, everywhere he released it. And to do that, they may be willing to negotiate. I see the super chat. Thank you. They may be willing to negotiate in order to get his cooperation, and they'd lesser the penalty. But you got the military court. He could be in a lot of trouble. Now, mind you, if UCMJ could give him the death penalty, perhaps they could say, we're not going to go for death penalty if you cooperate. But boy, this guy, what's interesting is, and this isn't interesting. I mean, I'm a lawyer, but I don't do this kind of stuff. What's interesting to me is there's an aspect of it where since he didn't do it, for the Russians, it almost makes it better. Since he didn't do it as a whistleblower, potentially actually makes it worse though, because it would be really bad if he did this because I wanted to help Russia and blah, 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 right? But maybe it's worse. I don't know that he did it because I want to impress the girls, or actually in his case, the underage boys. Like I want to impress kids that it's really cool, right? It's not malicious, but it's so blatantly negligent. You know what I mean? That I don't know that he gets a lesser penalty because he didn't do it maliciously, because he did do it willingly, right? He did it on purpose. That's the thing. Really, really screwed up. And the other, I'm sure real quick, and then I'll get to Elise's question. The other thing is, I've been really curious as to what happens to the co-conspirators. All those guys that were with him in the forum. It's one thing to be a member of a forum where people are posting this information. That's a little weird. And I don't think that, generally speaking in American law, you don't have a duty to report a crime if you are a regular citizen. A lawyer might, a cop might, right? Officer of the court might, but a regular citizen, you don't have to report a crime. But if you're part of the server and if you read the document, you could be in trouble. If you downloaded the document, you're really in trouble, right? Other people on the server. The fact that they're doing interviews and saying, we aren't going to give his name until he's able to flee the country. To me, that opens you up as potentially being a co-conspirator. I wouldn't be surprised if the FBI found him in part because they went to some of these kids. These were the Washington Post goes, and Eric Toller did as well from Bellingcat. They found one of the kids, underage, got him to interview with them anonymously, and they got his mother's permission because he's underage. I read that yesterday or the day before, and I said, this guy's toast. If your mother had to give permission for you to interview with the Washington Post about the fact that you know who the classified spy is, you better believe your mother said your next phone call is going to be to the FBI or you're grounded for life, right? So I think we don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if that same kid who said, I'm not going to tell anything until he's out of the country. By the way, the other thing that happens is the FBI found that kid. I'm guessing here. I think the FBI found that kid and said, okay, so you said you're not going to tell anybody who this guy is until he leaves the country. You're now a co-conspirator for treason. How would you like 25 to life, Mr. 16-year-old? Mom, what do you think? And mom slaps him across the face and says, you're going to tell them right now who this kid is. Man, I mean, that's the whole thing too. You didn't get awesome is mentioning on TikTok. How would you let your kid talk to the media without getting an attorney? I mean, your kid literally was cavorting with espionage, and you go, hey, wouldn't it be neat to have him talk to the Washington Post? I mean, like, are you stupid? So who knows? This story. Sorry, let me look at Elise, and then I had more things written down here. How the heck does a person get a security clearance without a check that includes their online activities? He had to have been cleared very recently. Well, the thing is, thank you, Victor, for the shooting stars. It was sweet of you. I mean, the thing is, his online activities, he got the clearance before, and then he formed this group of thugs or whatever it is. Now, good point from Elise. Did he become a racist after he got his clearance? I mean, clearly this guy was posting racist and anti-Semitic stuff online. Okay, that in principle would ring some bells or some warning bells if you're having access to highly classified information, right? So you kind of get. I mean, that's a really good question. I don't know how. I don't know when they looked into it, but it's also possible the guy didn't get into all of his really weird stuff until he already got the clearance. You know, it's really. I mean, thank you for the hat there. Was it Marcy? Thank you. I'm really liking the fact that the super chats are popping up in a second column. As I said, it still helps me to mention there's a super chat, but at least it pops up, which is nice. Let me find some more things on this. Okay. Oh, a couple different things. Sources and methods. So there's a big concern about sources and methods because the issue here is one of the documents, for example, I was reading today. Okay, sources and methods. Sources and methods means literally sources of information. Who are the spies that we've got inside Russia helping us, for example? And when I say spies, I mean it could be Russians that we're paying, right? Or it could be methods, which means we didn't pay anybody. We've been eavesdropping. We've been spying on what's going on. We could have electronic, we could have bugs, we could have satellites, whatever it is, right? Keeping an eye on the Russians. The big problem with documents like this that were released isn't just the actual information in them. It's almost more dangerous that you jeopardize the way we're getting the information because it potentially tips the Russians off so they're able to know how to clamp down and cut off the information. So not only was our current information gone public, which is really bad, but we've now cut off this guy. So this guy's in trouble for this too. He's jeopardized so many different sources of information we potentially have in Russia and around the world. There was what, right? Signals intelligence, human intelligence, etc. Oh, that's what I'm saying, Rocket Man. Yeah, you signed documents. Yeah, I mean, I had to go to the CIA for a briefing to get my clearance, and I had to sign documents that made clear that I was going to jail for life. I forgot. I didn't even get a copy of the document. I remember the document's probably classified. It was made, actually, funny story for you guys. The kind of clearances this guy had, at least when I had them, now mind you, I had them 30 years ago. Tell me anybody who's familiar with them now, but like for top secret SCI code word clearances, the actual name of my clearance was classified. Because when you have a clearance that high, there's little categories. There's categories like satellite intelligence or other kinds of intelligence you could have access to. And I had two of those categories that I had access to as part of my code word clearance. The names of my categories that would tell people what information they could tell me, the names were classified. The name of my clearance was classified. I mean, that's how classified this stuff is, right? And I don't know if it's that way today still with code word clearances, whether the names of your various special access programs are they still classified? The names of the special access programs? Just curious. I'm not even going to say it. I told you, by the way, too, let me just say, again, the fact that I'm beating around the bush and being careful about this 34 years later is because it was drilled into my head how secret this stuff is I was being told. So that I'm still afraid today and cautious about naming the name of my security clearance because that was classified 34 years ago, right? This guy knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly. I'm just kind of blown away too. I do wonder if the guy's a little, right? Like a little screwed up in the head. Because you got to wonder, like, who did now? One thing, actually, thank you for that for Dr. Shane. One thing that was interesting about this is that he, what was it with him? If I was going to say here, sorry, Lise, I'll pull that up now. I was looking at Dr. Shane's gift and I forgot it, but I do appreciate the gift there. I'll go on. Anyway, so we're worried about the him compromising the methods. Actually, one of the things he put out there was information about a spy satellite we have that is so classified, we are now concerned that the information he put out there may help the Russians to basically counter that spy satellite. So that's the kind of danger as to what this kid did, right? In England, you signed the Official Secrets Act. I remember that from years ago. Hang on a second. Let me look at more here. Yep. Oh, and the final thing and then I'll take more of it. this is so important that I don't mind spending more. I have some other news to tell you, but I don't mind spending more time on this because I really did want to make this the big story today because I think it's a huge story. Um, the other big problem is it really calls into question how much other countries can trust us. If you're Ukraine, it took a while for the Ukrainians to trust us, for them to want to tell us their war plans. And then we started trusting each other, and the Ukrainians started telling us their war plans, and we started going over it and saying, okay, we might do this differently. So we started, like, our generals started, and our top experts started giving them advice. This shows how if you give us information, it's everywhere. If I were Ukraine, or frankly, any other power, I would be very concerned about what information we're giving America right now. Now, that's the other problem. Now, I guess it's a catch 22. A catch 22. It's kind of a double-edged sword here. Thank you, Pretzel Guy, for the dog there. In a way, it's good that our allies know. It's good that Ukraine knows how sloppy we are with this intelligence, right? To some degree, because it I don't want Ukraine giving us information if it's going to be treated this sloppily, right? This frivolously. But it's obviously still a very bad thing that other countries can't trust us because it now means our intelligence cooperation is going to be much less. But again, maybe it should be less until we get our act in order. So ironically, the one good thing that comes from this is this has exposed how sloppy, I say it's sloppy, how sloppy we are with the access we give to this stuff. I'm just still blown away that, like, God, it's sloppy is an understatement. It really is, though. I don't know, David. David says, I don't think he had the clearance. I think he took pictures of documents that were not secured. Well, here's the question. He clearly took pictures of some documents. Some documents he wrote up, he summarized. Him summarizing it made me curious as to whether he was reading it on his computer, right? But he also has pictures of documents that were folded up. And I'm trying to figure out, how did he get those, right? Because typically, again, thank you. Hey, thank you. I'll pull on for the butterfly. Typically, as I recall, when I was looking at paper first of all, back then, I never saw classified documents on a computer. That was, like, not going to happen. I was always seeing things written down. And to see something written down, I always had to sign it out. So I always had to sign it. I had to go to a SCIF, a secret facility that's super secret that nobody can listen in and stuff. Thank you, Messi, for the Lucy, the llama. So I'm curious how he even got access to those documents he could read that were folded, right? How did that even? Interesting. Hedge is saying CNN reported they were from a burn bag. Ooh. So a burn bag is basically garbage for classified documents. And it's, you put the classified documents you want to get rid of, you put them in a burn bag, and then the burn bag gets, I assume, literally burned, by flames, so that all the documents are gone. But from what you're saying, if that's true, and if what CNN is saying is true, that he got some of them at least by going into the garbage bag and taking stuff out. That's crazy too. Yeah. Man. But honestly, the one good thing, the policy requires 2 people to destroy copies. Well, that makes sense. The one good thing is he has exposed so many inefficiencies, or whatever word you want to use for this, so many vulnerabilities, that at least maybe we hope we can clamp down a lot better now, right? Because he's shown how bad with this. My God. Ben is saying, my dad in the British Army had to sign the Official Secrets Act because of the secret armor on the Challenger tank at the time during the Cold War. Yeah. And and this stuff. I remember my dad, like, died a couple years ago, but he told us maybe in the 80s that he used to work on biological warfare for back during the Korean War, or some kind of biological warfare experiments, right? And he was like, oh, I had a security clearance. And, we were in high school. We're like, oh my God. And we tried to get our dad we're like, tell us some stuff. He's like, I can't tell you anything. And this is 30 years later, and Dad was still very careful about making sure he told us nothing about his work, because at the time it was classified. That is just the way you do this stuff. That's the way you do this stuff. Now, Pete Dumais is saying, you're assuming he worked alone. There may be others working, and intense interrogation is needed. There's a good point too. That's a good point. we're assuming it's all him, right? What if, first of all, what if he's lying? What if he did release the stuff on purpose because he was trying to undercut us? What if someone else got him the documents? What if the Russians were working him in some way? I don't know how, but maybe they were. I don't know. I mean, the simplest explanation is what has been said, which is this guy just thought, this guy just thought he was being cool. I was working as a staffer somebody's asking why I had a clearance. I was working I was a lawyer staffer in the U.S. Senate for a senator, and I was working on arms control issues for him. We were part of sort of a special arms control committee, and we would go to Europe and basically check in with the arms control negotiators and keep track of them and everything else. So in order to have access to the arms control information and go to the briefings in Europe, I had to have a code word clearance, this top secret SCI, to do that. So that's why I had it. It was scary. It scared the hell out of me getting that clearance. I was terrified. It ended up being fine, but it's scary. Oh man. Oh my God. All right. What else we got here? I do have other news I want to mention to you guys because there is some good stuff. You know what? Let me give you the rest of the news really quick. And then I will continue and we'll continue with this. Okay. So let me give you the rest of the news and then we'll continue back with this guy. Actually, and I wouldn't mind for some of you maybe to go and look at I looked at the latest, but maybe look at the latest if there's anything else interesting they're saying about the guy. Thank you, Perfect. Who is that? Victor. Yeah. All right. Let me go through some of these other stories really quick. I will do my pitches really quick. Check out our Discord. We have a Discord, no classified documents allowed. It's discord.aravosis.com. You guys can check it out via the link in my profile on TikTok, the Linktree link. That'll take you to a list of links, including my Discord. You guys can find it via aravosis.com at the bottom of the screen. It's a neat community. It's a lot of fun. We've been talking about this stuff all day, actually, and I post stuff throughout the day as well, sort of news updates that aren't necessarily, that we're going to talk about tonight, but throughout the day, we all kind of discuss them. Do check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's free. You can also subscribe, be a paid subscriber. That gives you access to our Saturday morning show. This weekend, we're not doing a Saturday morning show because I am traveling to Chicago that day. But otherwise, thank you for the lock and key. Who is that? Chezak? Thank you. But it's Discord. It's a fun community. And I think we share a lot of fun stuff. And there you go. So check it out. Discord.aravosis.com. Thank you for the meteor shower, Happy Beach. And let me continue here. So there was other news today that was very interesting. There was an update on that British plane that the Russians tried to shoot down last September or so. So part of the document leak told us that we weren't getting the full story. Last September or so, I guess the story came out that a Russian plane accidentally shot at a British spy plane near Ukraine, and the missile didn't work, and it was all a mistake, whatever. Well, now we find out from the classified documents this guy leaked. And again, we always have to caveat, maybe these documents are fake. Maybe some of them are fake. We don't know. But what the document says is that the Russian pilot, and this tells you, by the way, if it's true, how bad the Russian pilots are and how bad the Russian military overall is. The Russian pilot misunderstood ground control and thought they told him to fire on the British plane. So he fired on the British spy plane. From what I read today, those British spy planes can have as many as 30 people on them. They could have had 30 British troops on this plane. He fires at the plane to destroy it, and his missile malfunctions and doesn't work. That's why the missile didn't hit the plane. It wasn't fired. And this kind of pisses me off. The story was it fired accidentally. Yeah, it fired accidentally, right? Because what they're saying, it was an accident. He misunderstood. So it wasn't really an accident. He intentionally fired at the Brits because he's an idiot and didn't understand the ground control. And we are lucky that Russian weapons are so bad that the missile didn't work, because otherwise you probably would have had 30 dead British soldiers, and then we would have had a real problem. Sorry, looking for my slipper as I talk to you, and then we would have had a real problem. Interesting offshoot of that story, by the way, that can also be part of the reason that Biden is so freaked out about escalating with Russia, because he's afraid about an incident like that. I got to tell you, from my perspective, you don't back off. I mean, that's really bad, but you don't back off from how you're helping Ukraine because Russia almost went to war. You just tell the Russians, watch it, More news, the beheading. So that story we've been talking about for a few days, um, about the beheading of the Ukrainian soldiers. We don't know if it's real, but there's video going around showing what appears to be Russian troops beheading Ukrainian troops, cutting off their hands. They're alive when they're getting their head cut off. It's really horrific. A lot of people are investigating. Remember that Wagner group, the mercenary group soldier who from Russia who defected to Norway, the one who got arrested because he tried to sneak into Sweden to buy cheap cigarettes. I mean, like such a Russian. He claims now that he recognizes the guys in the video and that they are, in fact, a Wagner group. That gets interesting because you've got two things going on here. One, they need to identify the soldiers that did the killing. If he can identify them, now mind you, he could be lying, but if he gives names and then we're able to check records and identify who they are, that's a problem for Russia. Two, obviously Ukraine has a picture of the soldiers who were killed, the Ukrainian soldiers. They can search their own ways. I mean, hell, they can put the picture out everywhere and say, who knows this guy? You know, who knows these guys? But very interesting that guy's claiming it's the Wagner guys. Very interesting. So, Jeannie, you are so close to leaving. You are so close to leaving. Okay. Just so you know, Jeannie, that's a little rude. Be nice. Next story, Polish premier. The Polish prime minister said that China may be encouraged to invade Taiwan if Ukraine loses the war. Interesting. I just wanted to throw that out there. One of the classified stories that this guy leaked shows us why the U.S. was so concerned about China potentially providing weapons to Ukraine. Oh, sorry, really quick. Anthony Evans. Sorry, Anthony. I pulled up your thing so I wouldn't forget it, and then I forgot it. Could the teens be Russian spies teasing him to supply info? Yes, sure. That's brilliant. Anthony is saying, in terms of the classified document thing, this guy had a bunch of underage kids who were part of his group that he was educating with his spy leaks. Could some of those have been Russians actually goading him into releasing stuff? Maybe. Yeah. That's a really good point too. Yeah. Who knows? But that's not at all. That would be brilliant. Now, of course, his initial group had like 25 or 30 people. They would have to find out about the group and everything else, but it's possible. Oh, thank you, Shane. I haven't seen that one before. The fall candles. Thank you. That's very pretty. I haven't seen that one at all. So yeah, no, that's definitely possible. Yep. Just looking here really quick. Okay. I really like this that it drops the, it shows the super chats in the column. It still helps to be notified of them because it doesn't show me that they're there, but at least I can check and they're there. Thank you, Ben, for the hat there. Okay, again, I don't want to go too long with this stuff because I know we're going to talk more about the spy stuff, but this is interesting. New York Times has a story today on why the U.S. was so worried about China potentially giving weapons to Russia. Listen to this. The cache of classified documents that has leaked online reveals one source that may have at least reinforced the suspicions in Washington about China's plans. Intercepted communications in mid-February indicated that the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service reported the approval of military aid by China's top military body. A report among the documents released said that according to the Russian intelligence services, the Chinese military commission, quote, approved the incremental provision of lethal aid to Russia's war in Ukraine. The Russian intelligence service assessed that China wanted to keep the transaction secret and was prepared to disguise the military aid as civilian equipment delivered by sea, rail, and air, according to the U.S. report. That's why we were so worried about it. Now, Callum, thank you for that. That's why we were so worried about it. So, and I had suspected this at the time, that when we kept saying that, China, you better not be giving weapons, I had a feeling, and a lot of us did, that we knew something, that there was a reason we were going public to preempt it, and that was it. I think this document is probably real because it kind of makes sense that there was a reason for Biden to go public and say that. Thank you, Kath, for that. And thank you twice, Kat. I like the hats. I think the hats, you have to see it on TikTok, but the hats, it throws these hats on your head, and when you move your head, it like fits perfectly. It's very cool. Couple more stories really quick. German government today approved a Polish request to re-export 5 MiG fighter jets to Ukraine. That's excellent. Norway expelled 15 Russian diplomats accused of carrying out intelligence work, in other words, spies. And Navalny, Alexei Navalny, opposition leader in Russia, has been very sick from a stomach pain. He's in solitary, and they had to call an ambulance for him. So, he may not be doing too well. Let me do a quick pitch for my Patreon, and then we will jump to the Q&A. So Patreon as well, we've got, that's very cool. Patreon's a nice way to be able to support people like me. In a nutshell, it's a way for you to give me money each month. I mean, oh, hey, God, Big Drama's giving a very cool gift. Thank you, Big Drama. That was very cool. Patreon is a way that you can contribute to creators each month. $5, $10, whatever you can whatever you can afford. And it goes automatically until you shut it off. What's nice about it is for people like me who do this full time, and quite literally, like I said, your guys' contributions, your gifts are my income. It allows you to sort of see, rather than just going day by day and hoping that today I get a lot of gifts, right? Because every day, some days I get a lot of gifts, some days I get nothing. I mean, you don't know. Patreon's nice because you know how much money's coming in each month. And if you can get enough followers, it can become consistent that you don't need to worry as much about the day-by-day gifts and things like that. So I always say, only consider it if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, don't do it. I mean, this is still free, obviously. But if you can afford it and you've been here for several months and you like my stuff, consider going over to Patreon. The link's at the bottom here, but you can see patreon.com/Aravosis for you guys. You guys can find the link in my profile, my Linktree link. You'll see Patreon. Thank you for the dog, Big Gator Girl. And if you can afford it, consider it. I would appreciate it. All right, so thank you. Let's keep going here. Bengal has a question. If China invades Taiwan, would it turn out like Ukraine? I have not delved into China and Taiwan like I have Ukraine, but I'm obviously paying attention because it matters. Hang on, quick sip of tea. And what we have heard is it would be a very bloody battle. There would be a lot of U.S. deaths, but we would win, is what we hear. Oh, yeah, Callum, didn't you see? I talked about it earlier. I told everybody, this is the mug Callum got me. It's one of the mugs. It's a Starbucks mug. It's really cool. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, you silly. You must have come late. You didn't see it. That's very funny. China. Yes, so the U.S. assessment was it will be very bloody, it will be very difficult, but we will win. China will not be able to take Taiwan. But the problem was that it's going to be very bloody and very difficult and a horrific conflict. So it still has people very concerned here, and it means the U.S. military is trying to do much more to beef ourselves up and beef up Taiwan for that. But it's going to be different than Ukraine. I guess the one question about, anyway, so there's that answer there. The other question is the U.S. will certainly put massive sanctions on China. One hopes Europe will. France has already made clear. Macron kind of gave the green light. You see other French military types trying to back off, but Macron himself said, in essence, China can invade Taiwan. It's not in Europe's national interest to care about it. So the question becomes whether the rest of Europe says, we don't like this, or whether the rest of Europe says, this is the kind of belligerency we don't need to see from the world's largest communist dictatorship, right? So there you go. I forgot what I was even looking at here. Okay, so we're doing the Q&A now. Thank you for the TikTok there. Oh, yeah. So the Patreon, like I said, you can see the Patreon there. So thank you for that. Thank you for the gift there, Donka Shane. Let's do more questions. So let me jump around here and see. Oh, sorry. Another cool. Oh, I've not seen this one before. Hang on. Oh, that's a very cool. Big Drama just bought a really cool gift. Island of Love. That I still say, I wish they'd let these gifts stay up for like 1 second more. I've not seen that before. That was very cool. Thank you for that. But I do like just a second more, or even better. See, I've got all these ways for TikTok to make money, or you let people pay like 10% more for it to stay longer on the screen, or 20% more for even longer. Imagine, right? Like an extra you buy an extra second, an extra 2 seconds, and basically, what do they call it? Not scaling up. I forget what you call it in business, where you sort of pitch them at the end. Ooh, spend 10% more. It's not a markup, but there's a word for it in business. Anyway, I should be making money doing this stuff. I'm not showing you the map unless there's a reason for it. So, um, upcharging. Thank you. That was an upselling or upcharging. That's it. Yep. Yep. So TikTok, if you're listening, actually, I should pass that along to the TikTok people I know because it would be very cool. We are getting all sorts of new gifts today. Thank you guys for this. Kath, that was really love you. It's funny how they've all got love in their names, like the gifts. It was like a cool trunk on a car or something. Okay, and this is cool too from Dawn. These are all the new ones, you guys. Thank you for the cat. These are all new ones, I think. I didn't even notice these. Yep, that one I think I'd seen, the cuddle with me. I think I just noticed that one yesterday. Very interesting. All right, you have, oh my God, everyone wants the map. The map. The map. Thank you for the super dog cat. And the butterflies, she was at she grew. Thank you for that. More questions. Ben, okay, well, I'm glad you bought the question, Ben, but I just gave you the map. We'll give you again. Okay. Where is Mariupol? Mariupol is all the way down here on the map. Okay. All of this is the territory Russia occupies. They grabbed this in 2014. They claim it's Russia. Actually, they claim all of this is Russia. It's not. So this was 2014. In the last year, they grabbed this. Now, mind you, they had grabbed a lot of this too, and the Ukrainians kicked them out of all of this. Now the Russians still control this. Mariupol down here, Melitopol, Zaporizhia city, Zaporizhia province. The thinking is the counteroffensive could very well focus here, but it could focus a lot of other places too. Royce, thank you for the hand and heart, making sure I didn't miss something else here. Okay, I don't think I did. All right. Now you get that. What else? What else we got here? Sorry, more questions. Actually, I hadn't even checked the Ukrainian geography with Professor Aravosis. Exactly. Let me pull up questions here. Oh, hang on. Did I have more here or no? Oh, here's a reason for the map. I just gave you the map. Oh, sorry. All right. We're for suspense one more time since suspense had asked as well. There you go, suspense. You get your map. And thank you, Evolving, for the watermelon. Thank you, Maharet, for the mariachi. And thank you, Crisp Chicken, for this chocolate strawberries. Thank you, guys. And the Mary, you guys, I thank you so much. You guys are going nuts today on the gifts. Thank you, Kath, for the piñata. It's also fun to see some of the new ones that I haven't seen before, which is nice. Just because it's fun to see. I try not to ask for some of the newer ones because they're a little more expensive, so I feel bad. I don't really have any updates on Vuhledar. Courtney was asking about Vuhledar. Vuhledar is one of the cities where the Russians were getting destroyed in. Down Vuhledar, kind of down here, more or less, on the border between what Russia occupies and what is free Ukraine. That's the place where Russians have been trying for 3 months, and the Ukrainians just obliterated them. I mean, just really bad. And the Russians just kept going and going. And it's one of the reasons that Russian general basically got fired because he was in charge of the whole region. And how badly that battle went is one of the reasons that he got fired. Thank you, Truthful, for the hat and mustache. But yeah, but I didn't really, also I was looking, and I will tell you too, the news was so focused today on capturing this guy who did the classified document leak that there wasn't a lot of news about the war itself. As I said, sort of some of the stuff I was telling you guys earlier, but there was no news on sort of advancements at all that either side has made. So my guess is there, not much has happened. Otherwise there would have been something out there. Going to overtime. I know we are potentially looking at overtime, Dave. It all depends. It just depends if people, I'm going to kind of do it based on whether people keep having lots of questions. If Ukraine gets Crimea back, am I sure my map isn't classified? Well, my map came from Amazon, so I'm sure my map is fine. But thanks for asking. And thanks for asking with the super chat. If Ukraine gets Crimea back, will they want Belgorod back? No. It's funny. I never even realized that was a thing. Thank you, Magical Photo. I never even realized that Belgorod was part of Ukraine before until some of the Ukrainians were saying it last night, I believe. Belgorod, see, now there's reason for the map, you see? So Belgorod is all the way across here. This is all Russia, by the way, over here. Belgorod is right across the border from Kharkiv, Ukraine, maybe 20 miles, 30 kilometers. It's very, or less. It's very, very small distance in there. Thank you for the speedboat. Who is this? That's oh hell. Ah, big drama. Okay, that Showtime thing I've never seen either. Thank you, big drama. Sorry, let's see. Magical with the superpower. Wait, who else did we have? Sorry, there was somebody. Oh, Speedboat Cheryl with the Speedboat. Thank you. Oops, sorry. We've got another. I did see another super chat. You want the map? You can't handle the map, Mario. You people are insane. All right. Hey, like I said, unless it's something really horrific, if you're willing to pay for it, I'll do it. If you're willing to pay, but there are limits to that. But you get the map. If you bought a super chat question, you get the map. I know you guys. I have to tell you. I mean, again, I hate making this stuff about money because I as people who know me will tell you, I like money, but I'm really bad about getting money because I constantly jump. The stuff I'm doing with Ukraine over the last year, I've been doing all my life. I constantly jump on causes and I get invested in them because they matter. And I don't really figure a way to make money. So I end up doing it full time and making no money. And then I use my savings. So thank you for helping out. Because also, I will tell you, and I think it's because of taxes in America, the last 2 weeks, the money like disappeared, but it also disappeared on YouTube as well and TikTok. So I have a feeling that the US tax season kind of put everybody into freak out mode on donations, which makes sense actually. Which totally makes sense, but it had me a bit worried. So I wasn't going to say anything, but now that you guys are giving tonight, thank you, because I had my worst night possibly ever last night in terms of the gifts. But again, I don't want to guilt you guys into it, but I was kind of sitting here going, the worst part too is after the show, you kind of go, what did I do wrong? It's anyway, but thank you. Like I said, I hate asking for money, but I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Kath and Hedge, both there. More questions. I know, just withhold the map. Now, that's a good point. Roshan's right. I should just withhold the map. I should withhold the map. You don't get the map unless you pay for it. That's a good one. What was the Hedge? Oh, I just see Hedge with the chef's kiss. Thank you. Mishka, nice to see you with the hearts there. Thank you. It's Canada's tax season too. I didn't know that. Oh, Flower Lady, thank you for the wave. Let's give her some waves on TikTok for the whale. I did not know that it's Canada's tax season too. See, but I would say most of our audience is America. I've got to check again really quick. There's a good amount of Canada, and I've got to see. I always forget if I've got that information on the breakdown. Oh, okay. Even Roshan's paying for the map. All right. You get the map, Roshan. Thank you. Now, Soren, that's a super sticker. Okay. I was going to say, if you had a question, feel free. Actually, I'm kind of curious. I don't want to waste your guys' time, but maybe you'll be curious. I'm going to look really quick because I thought on TikTok. Let me see really quick. I'm trying to see if it gives me country information because I'm actually kind of curious. Analytics. I just don't remember. Like, for example, let me just see last night to see what the country if it gives me the country information. Nope, I've got numbers of people, likes, etc., content. All right. Nope, live. Okay, go to Live Center. Let's look there. I really want to know. No, I'm really curious as to what the breakdown is. All right, activities. Come on, I want to know live analytics. Okay, new followers, total views in the last 7 days. Oh, come on, you got it. Here we go. 74%. So this is the last 7 days on my lives. 74% US, but that's interesting because that's 25% abroad. That's actually quite interesting. Thank you for thank you, Suspense. Thank you for the gun there. Okay, I'm gonna guess. Sorry, real quick. I'm gonna guess that's. Thank you, Edsel. I'm gonna guess that's Irish. Oh, sorry. Hang on a second. Okay, that is totally cool. That is totally freaking cool. Who did that? Big Drama. Big Drama just bought an insanely generous gift that is also way cool of this lion and cub on TikTok. It's one of their newer ones. That may be the most expensive gift on TikTok nowadays. I'm not sure. That's incredibly generous. Thank you. Edsel, generous of you as well. That's incredibly generous. Thank you for that. Wow. And Mario, here's your map, since I'm assuming that's Irish for show the map. Yeah, TikTok gets half the money. Don't get me wrong, but still, wow. Thank you for that. Thank you, guys. I'm telling you, I really was worried last night. I didn't tell anybody, but I was like, oh my God. I was going to, sorry, Cammy. Oh, these are cute. I haven't seen these either. The 3 little puppies. That's cute. They get half. What do you do? The funny thing is TikTok takes way too much of the money, I will say, but I still get more gift money from TikTok than I do from YouTube because of the number of people who come on TikTok. And it's not, so YouTube sort of per person is a lot more. TikTok volume is a lot more because there's just so many people that come via TikTok. So it's still worth doing, right? Because even though they get half, I still make great money, but it's annoying because they take half. So let me tell you real quick. So 74% of my viewers are American, but only 74%. So 26% are from abroad. That's higher than I thought. The next up is the United Kingdom, 8%. Interesting. Thank you, Future Ghost. Oh, Future Ghost. Hey, for that. Oops, sorry. Who else we got? Victor with the Let's Go. Thank you. 4% Canada, then Australia, and then others. Interesting. And that's the last 7 days. I can look at the last month just for fun as well. All right, let's look at the last month. Same thing. 70%. Okay, the last month, 70% American, 9% UK, 5% Canada, 1% Australia, 15% others. So basically I'm getting the Anglophones. You're the 1%, exactly. So I'm getting Anglophones. That's really interesting. Oh, and sorry, Azamak for the hat. Thank you. It makes sense, but I guess I didn't realize it was that many. It doesn't show. I wish I could tell me. It doesn't show me who the others are. Now, actually, that would be really cool. Okay, this is funny too. 72% men, 28% women. I've got to tell you, for some reason, I thought it was more. I thought it was like equal women and men, or even more women. Had no idea it was tilted so much to men. That is funny. Now, the age breakdown is interesting too, because the largest percentage are 55 plus, 39% are 55 plus. That's interesting, right? Because when you're thinking TikTok, you're not necessarily thinking 55-year-olds, right? Thank you for the hat there, Edsel. Right? You're not thinking of that. It goes down in order. 39%, 55 and up. 22%, 45 to 54. 19%, 35 to 44. 14%, 25 to 34. 6%, 18 to 24. There you go. It's boomers. But it's interesting because it's TikTok. I never quite think of it that way, right? I mean, I think they're older folks. Well, I'm an older folk, but I don't think of it like that. That's really interesting. Well, that's kind of interesting. Wow. So like over the last month, it's been 30% foreign. That's a lot. That's a real lot. Wow. Very interesting. Yeah. And 50 on the 55 plus. But what's interesting is that, which I've always told people, TikTok has a lot of people that are, it's not just kids anymore, I mean, clearly. The YouTube community is fun. I mean, TikTok's obviously its own fun. Hartis. Now, the only thing is I'm not sure how it's Hartis. I'm not sure what it's calling that. What is it taking Hartis to mean, Rachel? I'm trying to look here. Hold on. I'm going to pull up my Google Translate and see what it's calling that. I think of Harti. Harti means card, but that's it's got a different accent. Let me do translate here real quick. Google Translate and see what it's calling that. Oops. There we go. Oh, map. Harti. Harti is a map. Yeah, that's very funny. Okay, sorry. I'm thinking Hartis. Harti. I'm thinking Harti is a card, but a Harti is a map. Yeah, in Greek. That's very funny. Thank you. Okay, I was being stupid. I know what a Harti is. That's very funny. Thank you. That's cute. I'm going, why is he saying? Because I think of a Harti as a card for some reason. I don't know if it means both or not, but map is a Harti. Yeah, that's cute. That's very cute. Oh, you guys are being nice tonight. Thank you. Woo! Sorry, did I miss anybody else here? Football. Oh, I did. Football helmet from Melissa. Thank you. Anyway, we can do more. Any more questions on all this stuff? I mean, you know what? I didn't even look at the TikTok questions. Look at me. We've been talking about this. We did have. Let me pull up more TikTok on TikTok itself to see if there's questions. That was interesting. Really interesting though about the breakdown. I really did not know that. Q&A. Not sure what that means. Well, I don't know, Sophie. So interesting question from Sophie, but I'm not sure the answer, but it's a good question. Yeah. Now that I can tell, I know enough Russian. Krasivaya karta. Karta against karti. The carte. You know what? I should have known that because a carte. I never, oh my God, I never made the connection from Greek to French to English. Thank you, Tom Clark, for the confetti. A carte. Well, a carte is a carte is a menu, but it's also a map, right? Vous avez la carte. Yeah, isn't a carte also a menu in French? But it's a map, is a carte. And I never thought of charti in Greek being the same word, which it is. Charti is cart. And krasivaya karta, karta would be a map. Krasivi, I think of as beautiful. There you go. Yes, Ihor is saying beautiful. Yeah, like the beautiful map. Okay. And it was a super chat, so you get the beautiful map. That's funny. We're going to get this in all the languages now. Well, a la carte, that's fun. A la carte, I mean, you know how we use a la carte, but yeah, it's funny. Charti, I never thought of it as being the word. Now, mind you, it's also possible that it is a Greek word that was borrowed into the other languages. Like you said, cartography. I never thought of it, but the origin may be the Greek. Kart in German, or karta. That's funny. Yeah. In Ukrainian, it's mapa. That's funny. That's funny. Mapa. I'm trying to think in Spanish. Is it mapa or is it carta? In Spanish, it probably is carta. I don't remember. I don't remember in my languages anymore what map is. Kaart in Dutch. I'm always intrigued with this, like the different languages and what it comes from. Did I miss a super chat? Hang on. Charti, Mario, and Dave. I think I got you guys. Oh, hello. Oh, that gift is cute. Oh, that gift little box was cute. Big drama for the gift. I know who's doing the unicorn. Oh, and the little lion. Well, we got everybody again. Hang on. Oh, actually, what are these little? Thank you for the feathers. Oh, it shows you the little. That's funny. The little gifts were popping up on the screen too. Hang on a second. Who was? Sorry, let's see. Big drama for the gift box. Hang on. Where were the other? I'm trying to see who the other. It's not. Why is it not showing me who got the other gifts? That's weird. Okay, I would like to thank you guys, but I'm not seeing. That's weird. Yeah, I will do the recap in a sec. It didn't show me. It showed me the gift box, but it's not showing me who did the other gifts, like that cute little lion cub, for example. Huh. Sorry, I'm looking here. I don't know. That was weird. That was weird. Oh. Now I'm getting Arabic too. Okay. You get the map in Arabic. I'm not even going to try pronouncing it in Arabic. From SB. Thank you, SB. That's cute. Mapa. Is Mapa Spanish? I don't remember. Well, again, it could be Latin as well. Well, Greek and Latin both, right? Greek and Latin both take over so many of the languages. Or not take over, but I mean are what usually is the basis. Not usually, but so many of them are. Look and see. But Latin, absolutely. Oops. Yeah, it just didn't show me. I'm kind of bummed here. Okay, sorry. I wanted to thank you guys for the like I said, for the little lion and the other thing, but it didn't show me who did it. That was crazy. I don't know why. Weird. Okay. Thank you. Mapa in Polish. Definitely map across the board. Woo! The map. Well, actually, it is true because we're getting the language lesson with the map tonight. In Quebec, we say la map. Oh, that's funny. La map. That's cute. I like that. That's cute. Well, yeah, I told you I've got to go to. I've only been to what's it called? With the G, right across from Ottawa. I was there anyway, so I got to use my French there, which was quite fun. You know, the Gatineau, right across from Ottawa. And it was fun because I got to order in French and everything, which was quite fun. But they were speaking French well that I could understand. Gatineau, exactly. But I'm dying to go to Montreal and use my French, although I'm a little nervous because like we've got Audrey, who is one of our regulars here, and I go and listen to Audrey's videos on TikTok, and it scares the hell out of me because if I listen for a long time, I start to understand. I mean, I'm fluent in French, but I cannot understand the Quebecois. Really throws me. And when I listen to Audrey, over time it starts to come. But boy, like, but anyway, I'm dying to go up there anyway. But the French is so well. Obviously, you guys borrow some English as well, but I mean, oh my God, la map. That's funny, la map. Yes, TikTok question. Sorry about that. What kind of so Sophie was saying, what kind of effect do the leaks have on the ground? Will anything change? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, meaning a lot of the information seems to be like embarrassing to us. Like we're concerned Ukraine may not do much in the counteroffensive. Okay. I mean, that doesn't really change anything. It may hurt morale a little bit, but the Ukrainians here, the Americans don't think they're doing as well, right? Which side am I on? You clearly don't watch my show, For Liker, on Twitch. I'm on the Ukrainian side in this war. But as far as effects on the ground, I mean, I clearly, okay, it's more a matter of it clearly benefited Mike. If you may have meant to ask a question, if you did, feel free to throw it in there in a regular comment. Clearly, the information can be beneficial to the Russians because, for example, there was information about what Ukraine and the U.S. had assessed was going on with the ground and the weather in Ukraine, and when the ground was going to firm up and be basically easier to run tanks over and things. Well, if you look at a map of different parts of the country and you see when the Ukrainians expect the ground to harden up, that might make you think that's when the Ukrainians may plan on launching their attack in that area. So that certainly helps the Russians for planning purposes, for example. Discussing what kind of different kinds of armaments the Ukrainians have is helpful to the Russians. Talking about how many Ukrainians may have been killed, how many tanks were destroyed, how many planes were destroyed, that's certainly very helpful to the Russians because the Russians have to guess. Whereas this case, it's America telling them, and America probably knows because America got it from the Russians, got it from the Ukrainians. So I mean, my point is, what changes on the ground could be that it helps the Russians plan their attack better. That's how it changes things on the ground, so to speak. So the Russians may do something differently. They may move more men, less, whatever, because now they've got a better assessment of how the Ukrainians are doing. So hard to give an exact detail, but I think that still helps the Russians with their planning. Ben is saying, could the incident with the British spy plane be part of the reason why NATO has been so afraid of Russia? Absolutely. I mean, I was trying to make that point. I may not have made it well, but I think, hang on a second. The fact that Biden has been so afraid of, I just think he's been afraid of pissing off Putin. You know, we know Macron and Germany have been kind of, iffy. Germany's been good now. Macron's still being an idiot. Could very easily, that didn't help. That Biden's thinking, and then you got the spy plane issue with the Americans so basically when the Russians knocked down the American spy plane last month, we didn't know publicly, but we knew privately, apparently, that this was not the first time they did something this belligerent and this dangerous, that they had shot on purpose at a British spy plane, 6 months before and almost killed 30 British military guys or gals, right? So from that perspective, our guys were being way more careful. I don't know. I still kind of feel like, honestly, I don't know. Potentially going public on that, potentially. Who is that? Patty Cakes? Thank you, Patty Cakes. I potentially think you go public and you let the people know what the Russians are doing, I mean, because there is the danger. Now, there's the danger you go public on this and you've now convinced people that this war is too dangerous, right? But you also run the possibility of convincing people that the Russians are bullies and we need to stand up to them. Because I still see a story like that and I think the Russians had to pull that. The Russians pulled that crap. We should have called them out on it and said, you owe us something now. but you literally fired on one of our planes. And don't call it an accident because your pilot did it on purpose. You know, I mean, that's pretty bad that their pilot was like, okay, you told me to start World War III. Okay. That's really screwed up. So yeah, no, I mean, Glorious is mentioning about the age on TikTok. Yeah. Well, as I said, not most, the plurality. So it's under a majority, but it's still the most number of people that listen are 55 and up for my shows, which is really interesting. No, TikTok, I've said from the beginning, TikTok had an interesting, oh, thanks, Vicente. Good to see you. I think TikTok has always had an interesting audience as far as it's not kids. It may have been kids. Actually, what I used to say was, we've now ruined TikTok the way we ruined Facebook. Like all the older people took over Facebook and now we've taken over TikTok too, which is kind of funny, and it's like, oh well. Oh, I was just going to say, did Mike post a question? Let me see. Yeah, I was just wondering about that. All right, sorry, scrolling back to Mike. Oh, here we go. What difference does this make legally? Compensation for unlawfully expropriating its assets into Russia. Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I don't know. Mike's talking about a arbitration decision that was just reached this afternoon or something, dealing with Ukraine and Russia and something with Crimea, and I think it's Ukrainian energy in Crimea. I don't know if it's the energy plants they stole, or they also stole, I think, some oil fields or natural gas fields as well. But the arbiter found in favor of the Ukrainians, and the Russians owe them money. What I don't know is, how do you go about getting that money? Can you garnish the Russian money that's been frozen internationally, for example? I don't know. But that decision just came out. But my immediate thought was, so what? Can Ukraine get the money? But if Ukraine can go after it, that's great. I mean, if they can get I hope they can get some of the frozen assets. They should, because now you've got an international court, arbitration decision. It just depends what the implementation usually is of those decisions. I just don't know what it is, but it's cool. Yeah. Yep. So I got Mike's. Let me go back on my TikTok app itself for more of your guys' questions. Oh, that's interesting. Peter Davis says there's a documentary on, or assuming his comments from today, there's a documentary on UK TV tonight showing how the British Army is training Ukrainian people for the counterattack. Very cool. I think I know some of those people. That's very cool. Wow, that'd be fun to see. I'm sure we won't be able to see it here in the States. Feel free to mention in the comments like what the show is or whatever for folks who actually have access in Britain to pull it up. That's cool. That's interesting. I don't think so. Dawn asks, do my gifts on TikTok get impacted by the exchange rate? She heard the euro is down against the dollar. I don't think so, because at least for me, okay, this is funny actually. I guess I throw the question back to you guys. So thank you for the flowers. Who was that? Louis? When on TikTok, if you're abroad, if you're in a foreign country on TikTok and you pull up my gifts, do the gift prices show in dollars or in your local currency? Because that's a very good question. I don't know how TikTok adjusts that. That's really interesting. So yeah, if you're abroad, just asking on TikTok really quick, do the gifts pop up in dollars or your local currency? Well, they show coins. Oh, that's true. They show coins and then you've got to buy the coins with your local currency. So who knows? That's interesting. I don't know. Yeah, we buy coins, but we use dollars here. Now, one thing I will tell you is, and this I was told along, I've got to keep reminding people, not just when you're on my show, but other shows on TikTok. If you buy the coins on your computer, you get a better exchange rate, I'm told, than a better rate than you will, not exchange rate, a better rate for the coins than you will if you buy them on your phone. So I believe you have to buy the coins on your computer and then you can spend them on your phone, but you get a much better rate, I was told. Check it out. I'd be very curious, but I was told by people who know that that's true. So do check it out. I think it's very interesting. That's what I was told. You've got an iPhone and it's cheaper on Android. See, even that, You get 30% more when you buy on your computer. See, that's what I had heard was it was a crazy amount, an absolute crazy amount more you get by buying on your computer. 30% is insane. That's insane. I see. I'd have to go into somebody else's live. Okay, now I want to see. I don't know how to pull up somebody else's live. Actually, you guys can pull up mine. Pull up mine on your phone, which you already are. See how much one of the gifts costs, and then go on your computer and pull up my live and see if you can see. But I'm just curious because I think this is also because if it's that much, we should definitely tell people. That's insane. I mean, that's an insane difference. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Well, fair enough. Okay. Okay, that was funny. Truthful says, I don't want TikTok on my Mac. I do it on my phone. Okay, fair point. That's a fair point. Fair enough. I mean, I have it on mine because what do you do? You know? I mean, I do this stuff for a living. I got to have it, but that's very funny. Let me see here. Yep. British military shooting in the streets in France. I doubt that's true. I doubt that's true. I mean, if it's tell me what it is, if you're familiar with that story, but clearly there's more to that story than what you're saying there. Oh, that's funny. Actually, Duke makes a point. That's a funny point, Duke. You're right. Providing an incentive to put TikTok on your PC. That's very funny. Apple takes 30% for all in-app purchases. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think of that. Oh, that's interesting. So does Apple get, I don't know. Who knows? Oh, because of the App Store. Oh, I see. I see. So, so 7,000 points on the computer are 75 USD, Kathy's saying. And what was the other, that amount on the phone that she's finding? Just curious. Hi, Odessa, Pishka. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. We're trying to do a little experiment to see how much coins cost on TikTok phone versus TikTok computer. We believe it's cheaper. Yeah, we'd have to look. I mean, anyway, one of you who's doing this, make sure you put both of them in the same comment. So put, I'm getting this for Android, this for computer in the same comment helps. Oh, here you go. Marky did it. So for the phone, it's 1,050 coins for $25. For the PC, it's 1,400 coins for $23.70. Holy cow. Yeah, that's what, 35% more? Actually, 40% more buying it on your PC. Holy cow. Okay, guys, you get a lot more on your PC for this. Now, the money I get is probably the same because you're spending the same amount of coins. So I'm guessing I get the same amount of money there, but at least you're getting more coins to spend, which actually means, that means you've got more money to give me too. Because if you were going to spend $50 and you got $50 worth of coins, you're going to get a lot more coins on your computer than you will on your phone. So that $50 of coins will let you buy more gifts. Yeah. Okay. I do need, I've got to make a note of that I keep telling people that. And actually, it's good for you to know in general on TikTok. If you buy your coins on your computer versus your phone, you will have a lot more coins to spend. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, $75 gets 5,000 on the phone versus 7,000 coins on the computer. Wow. Wow. Okay, there you go. I had no idea. Wow. Okay. No, I mean, what is asking? Isn't it a problem we care more about the leaks than what the documents are trying to hide? Not really, because here's the thing. I don't have a problem with classified information in general. Just because something's hidden doesn't make it bad. I don't think we should have information about Ukraine. The U.S. is turning on my lights here a little. The U.S. analysis of how Ukraine's doing in the war, that shouldn't be public, right? The details of how many planes they've got and how many troops they've got and how many men have died and how many planes have been shot down, that shouldn't be public. I don't want to give that information to the Russians, right? So I don't have a problem with it being secret. I mean, the one thing you can complain about is that the U.S. was spying on Ukraine, and the U.S., I don't know who else we were spying on. Now, we always do. So it's not like it's a big surprise. Thank you, Garden, for the dog. So that's not a big surprise, but I could see that being an issue that would bother people. But otherwise, the documents, here's what's interesting, actually. Of the documents released, I don't remember anything being a sort of embarrassment to America, right? Really. Because, we did something, in other words, Snowden or whatever, although Snowden, I think, is a criminal. But we did something wrong that, oh my God, now the world knows. Other than, spying on Ukraine, which again, kind of makes sense, Oh, hey, Vogon. Vogon is saying hello to us from Ukraine. Привет. So I don't have a problem with it. I just don't think it's, I don't think it's, I just don't think so. Well, and the documents could be, that's the problem, is we don't know. Yulia's saying, they released a statement that lots of the documents are forged. We just don't know. I mean, we don't know. The Chinese balloon was in the leased documents. That's funny. Patreon is much better. Patreon, in terms of the cut creators get, maybe because Patreon takes their cut, and then there's a cut from the financial service thing to give us the money. Maybe Patreon total gets 13%, maybe. YouTube takes 30%, TikTok takes 50%, which kind of sucks. TikTok's way too much. I mean, a lot of us have mentioned this before. It's not very nice. It's not very nice how much TikTok takes. I mean, it's not right what they do. Whereas YouTube, YouTube's not so bad, and Patreon's very good. But yeah, it's bad. I actually probably do have more Russian warship go F yourself stamps. What I can do, because thank you, Garden, for the Galaxy. I'm going to be heading to Chicago this weekend to see Mom for Greek Easter. And then I will be staying there for a month just because I can see Mom. So I'm bringing things to auction off for our Discord. We have cool auctions for Ukrainian stuff. Thank you, Garden, for the Galaxy. We have cool auctions of Ukrainian stuff. And, the half the proceeds for the Ukrainian, half the profits from the Ukrainian stuff go back to Ukraine. We've been buying a lot of military stuff lately for the military. Half of it goes to support me because, I'm doing this full time. I need to pay my bills. And I'm going to bring smaller things with me that are easier to put in my suitcase. And I was going to bring some of the stamps. So I will bring some. Now I've got a number of cool things I'm bringing with for next. Actually, let me see. I'm going to show you one or two things I'm bringing to Chicago to auction next week. Hold on, please. Actually, I'll show you one thing because this is kind of cool too. So here, I will show you one of the things. This is really neat. It's a wall hanging, and I think it's really cute because it's. Turn on the light here a little stronger. It's a wall hanging of the Ukrainian tank pulling the Ukrainian tractor pulling the Russian tank, and it's kind of 3D-ish. It's like 3 levels of it, but it's a little hard. I've got the wrapping on it because I want to keep the, protecting it. But the colors, I don't know if you can see. You can almost see when I do this. The colors are beautiful. It's like sunset colors. They're really cool. But I will be auctioning this off. Oh, Kalopaska. Kalopaska? I always forget. Is it Kalopaska? I think it is Kalo, isn't it? Thanks, David. I was trying to guess the gender there. But I will probably be putting this stuff in. Well, we'll see. Some of it's going to go in my carry-on because I'm afraid of it getting stolen. Yeah. All right. Let me do a quick summary. Oh, and we do have our store. Check out the store too. store.aravosis.com. I've been showing this lately because it's our newest T-shirt. It's really cool, drawn by a Ukrainian kid. Very cool. It says for peace in Ukraine. We'd gotten a number of these drawings from Ukrainian kids who made these drawings for Ukrainian troops, and their school, working with the charity we work with in Ukraine, sent us like 6 or 7 of them for us to auction off the drawings, and shirts, and we told them, we're going to raise money for Ukraine and I'm going to use it to keep doing this because like I've got to survive doing this so I can auction this stuff. So again, 50% of it goes back to Ukraine. So very nice. My hair is graying. Well, I hope so. I hate my hair is graying, but what do you do? Thank you for saying that though. I've learned when I see other people that have hair that's graying really nicely, I've learned not to say anything because I know like I'll look and go, oh, that looks really nice on them. But nobody likes to hear their gray look. Nobody likes to hear about their gray at all. Right. I told you like last summer, was it? I ran into somebody I hadn't seen in years. And she goes to me, oh my God, I haven't seen you since you went gray. And I was kind of like, hi, thanks. It was like, oh my God. All right. I will look at another TikTok question. Although I've been answering TikTok stuff on the screen. I have been doing that. All right. Hold on. Might be actually. We said that last night. Actually, I don't think there are that many TikTok questions because we've had. Oh, Snowden. I've got to go back and look him up again, all the details. But I mean, at the time, I'd gone through the Snowden stuff, and I think Snowden. I mean, Chelsea Manning should be in jail still as well, but that's a whole other thing. Oh, that's why. Oh, that's why. Dawn said the 3 gifts were from a gift box, all for the same person, from the same person. That's why, because it showed the 3 of them on the screen in the corner, and it didn't say who else they were from. So I got, okay, well, thank you then. I don't even remember who it was now, but I got worried because I wasn't thanking the other 3. So thank you for that. I had no idea. Okay, thank you. That's very cool. Yeah, I went through. Are you kidding? I went through so many of the questions. I can't find questions that haven't been asked on TikTok. You're kidding me. No, I've already gone through them because people are saying, are U.S. Special Forces training Ukrainians? And I thought that was from yesterday. And I believe they probably are, which is fine. But yeah, I think I went through all the TikTok questions, I think, from what I can find. All right, guys, I am going to, thank you, Rachel. I know I'm trying to embrace the gray. I'm trying. I am going to do a quick summary of the news of what we reported tonight and then call it quits until tomorrow. And then tomorrow will be my not last show. Tomorrow will be my show. And then I will not be reporting in on the weekend because I'm traveling to Chicago. And then Monday we will start at the normal time, 6 p.m. Eastern from Chicago. And we will just keep going. So hang on a second here. So the news today, day 413 of Vladimir Putin's 10-day special military operation. The big story obviously is the arrest of the 21-year-old Jack Teixeira, who he's the guy that stole all the classified documents and posted them online. Big concern is sources and methods, which is to what degree has his information now made it easier for the Russians to figure out how we are getting our information. In other words, where are the spies we've got? Where might we have electronic bugs planted that we're listening into people, right? Substance is a problem as well. The New York Times says that, anyway, substance is a problem as well. Calls into question whether Ukraine and other allies would want to share info with us in the future. Update on that British military plane that was almost shot down by the Russians. It appears the missile was fired intentional. The missile simply didn't work, but that the Russian pilot thought he was given orders to fire and he did. And the only reason the British plane wasn't blown up with maybe as many as 30 people on board was because the stupid Russian missile didn't even work. The beheading of those Ukrainian troops, that appears to be a beheading of Ukrainian troops, may have been done by the Wagner group, the mercenary group, according to a Russian former Wagner guy who is now defected to Norway. Polish premier says we must win in Ukraine because if we lose in Ukraine, that's going to send the message to China that they should invade Taiwan. I then talked about a New York Times story that explains why the U.S. was worried about Taiwan, about China potentially giving weapons to Russia. The concern was based on electronic intercepts of Russians talking about China getting the okay. The German government said today that it approved a Polish request to export 5 MiG fighter jets to Ukraine. Excellent. Norway is expelling 15 Russian diplomats for spying. And Alexei Navalny, who's the jailed opposition leader in Russia, has been so ill that he recently was treated. He needed an ambulance to treat him, which is not good. Thank you, Joanna. Sorry, Joanna gave me a nice message in Greek. Na pernas kalas to spiti tis mamasu Evie. Evie, I always forget what Evie is. That's a simple one, and I don't remember. But she's saying, may you pass the time well at your mom's house. Evie. I don't remember what Evie is. That's like the simplest word, too. Dima. Hi, Dima. All right, guys. All right. I am going to sign off. Oh, sorry. Was another gift? Oh, sports car. I missed the sports car. I'm sorry. I was reading in Greek when you put the sports car up. Thank you for that. That was really generous of you, too. I know what the sports car looks like. I'm sorry. I was looking. I'm so sorry. I was trying to read the Greek. My eye was over there. Thank you for that. That was very nice of you. Thank you. I feel so bad I didn't see it live. Sorry. Thank you. Oh, hey, Black Fox. No problem. Thank you for that. That was very nice of you. Evie is already. Okay. Thank you. All right, guys. Who knows? Yeah. Well, actually, Malayethos, I'll never be able to pronounce your name, is asking when the Wagner, if they were Wagner murders, when they happened. According to CNN yesterday, they were saying that thank you, Dak, for that. They were saying that the plants on the ground, thank you, I'll pull on. The plants on the ground looked like summertime plants in Ukraine. Summertime plants in Ukraine. So the thought was it's possible that the video is from last summer. Yeah. Still equally horrific if it's real, but that's what the thinking is on when it's from. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not watching it. I watched the blurred out version, even the blurred version. It's so blurred and it's still, I was like, I couldn't. Yeah, I can't. I didn't watch the one of the guy getting either. I just can't, like I've watched a lot of videos of wartime stuff this last year, but that just is too much. Thanks, Rachel. All right, guys. I'm going to call it quits. It's 7:40 almost. We've gone an hour and 40 minutes almost. This has been a good one. And God, you guys have been so generous tonight. Thank you. But this has also been a good one tonight. I think this was an important topic. So we did have a good, actually a lot of questions, which was good too, because sometimes we get sort of where the questions die off. This was good tonight. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern. We will not be doing coffee chat this weekend, but then we're doing it later. So, all right, thanks, guys. I will see you tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And I'll check in the Discord anyway. Oh, I didn't even tell you. Discord, I put another Azovstal bracelet on the Discord auction. I didn't even tell you guys. So it's there. These are the bracelets made from the steel from the Azovstal plant with the Ukrainian symbol on it. And the Ukrainian government made these to help fund the war. And they don't make them anymore, but I was able to get my hands on a few more. Not cheap, actually. But we've got one up now in the general auction. So go check out. It'll be up for a week. Go check out the general auction. But that's always been the most popular auction item we have. Thank you, Big Drama, for the cap. All right. I'll see you guys. One last map. Okay, one last map. Here you go. Woo-woo. Woo-woo. All right, map. All right. Bye, you guys on YouTube, etc.